Essay 50. Energy from Spacetime. The ECE theory has shown that the concept of electric power from spacetime does not violate conservation laws of physics. These major discoveries opened the way for many patent applications because the subject was put on a firm scientific footing for the first time in over a century. This is not before time because the fiasco caused by wind turbines is becoming obvious as whole nations go bankrupt under the cost, as democracy is trodden into the mud, and as protests rise in intensity. The concept of connection-based general relativity was basic to the idea of energy from spacetime. There are many working devices on ET3M.net and uptech.org as well as AIAS.us, and shortly we hope to launch a major initiative into research into this area. Spacetime is not an emptiness. It contains energy which can be trapped and transferred to devices. The various devices of the Alex Hill group are demonstrated on ET3M.net and have been observed many times to work. They are routinely used in industry by Fortune 50 companies. In the wake of 193 and 194, there are two metrics which remain to the subject: the Crothers metric and the metric of special relativity. In both cases, the Lagrangian and Hamiltonian are half the rest energy, thus showing that energy is the direct result of the metric. In other words, energy is contained in the geometry of spacetime. Geometry supports dynamics and electrodynamics in the ECE theory, and so it follows straightforwardly that there is electric power in spacetime. In the same way, there is gravitational attraction in spacetime. The field equations of ECE provide the best way forward towards energy from spacetime and counter-gravitation, and in recent work these ideas have been developed by Eckart, Lindstrom and myself in several directions, notably towards the establishment of numerical simulation of energy devices. The experience gained in covering all aspects of physics and chemistry with ECE theory has been brought to fruition while the hugely expensive standard modelers are still bogged down in dogma and self-glorification. The task at hand is to describe how given space-time energy devices work with simple manifestations of the ECE field equations. This has been brought to perfection in UFT 311. After this, the field equations may be used to design new energy devices. One of these papers by Eckart and Lindstrom has been on the infinite solenoid, and in this paper the field equations are brought fully to bear on an idealization of a device. The knowledge base for organized research in this area has therefore been established in the 8 years and a half following the publication of the first ECE paper in Foundations of Physics Letters. In a power-hungry world, desperate for a practical solution, every one of the 194 ECE papers currently available, that's about 2011, has been studied continuously all over the world, and also every one of the papers by the AIAS colleagues. There is overwhelming evidence for this in the feedback files on AIAS.us, archived in the national libraries, on webarchive.org.uk, and on the Wayback Machine archive.org since 2002. These archives will record for posterity the struggle of the AIS group against all kinds of mindless negativity. This was a struggle for science itself against the resurgence of medieval superstition. What is needed now is the organisation of research to build on this knowledge base, constructed by the AIS volunteers, without expectation of huge salaries and funding, work done purely on behalf of humankind. This is the kind of work for which Nobel Prizes ought to be awarded, by will of Nobel. It is no longer possible to rig the system to award a Nobel Prize for a non-existent God particle. Enough of that rigging went on in bolstering up global warming and a ragged scarecrow freezing in winter fields as all the turbines lie silent in the frost. Rigging a Nobel Prize is as foolish as a wind turbine. The debunking of mythology has become as important to the survival of humankind as the progress of science itself. The media can promote the wildest idea and ram it down the throats of people continuously. It is very important to resist all that propaganda, to resist false authority. The routine manufacture of devices that take energy from spacetime is of such obvious importance that this organisation should already be in place. The fact that it is not is due to the destructive and malicious activities of the same people who now lie in the dust of scientific failure. They were social parasites who used the media to promote themselves at the expense of humankind.